At Daniels, we believe that the curriculum itself should focus on that which creates wealth in the fullest sense of the meaning of that word. Not just financial wealth, but the goodness and welfare of the communities that we operate in. Social capital is that element that creates cooperation. Social capital is the grease that makes the gears work. And learning how to do that is a skill of business. It is also a responsibility of business.
I think as educators, we're all trying to create a transformational learning experience for our students. What we've additionally tried to really focus on is how do you become global citizens? How do you develop a passion for diversity? So as so often happens with social capital projects, it begins on paper with a very clear directive and a very clear goal. And of course, once you begin to dive deeper, it becomes a lot more complex and a lot more interesting. And I think that happened in Mozambique with Crocs. So what began as a project to come deliver shoes to a group of boys at an orphanage turned into an all-day experience that involved everything from drumming lessons by the local kids to a very competitive, intense basketball game where I think the US students lost and the Mozambican students won, and a wonderful soccer match, I believe a few races and sprints, and we spent all day there and into the evening in a small township outside of Maputo. And I think we walked away with a lifelong connection, not only to Mozambique and not only to those boys, but to the mission of places like that throughout the US and around the world.
Financially, the home was in trouble when we went into our social capital project, and we were doing a feasibility study to build out a trauma training institute, which would have been another stream of revenue. After the project, I had worked with them for a while. I was invited to be a board member.
I don't remember being born. I just remember growing up. Life is hard.
I'm a mom.
My dad. Anyone without someone.
I feel that social capital really builds our team. We do a weekend at the home, and we're cleaning up the home or doing things together as a team. It's really an opportunity for us to learn more about each other. For being a small consulting firm, it's attracted high quality talent and good people, and people that just do the right thing and that care about the world and our community that we live in. And it makes a huge difference for myself, for my husband as a leader in the company, and all the people that we work with as team members.
So as we started getting more immersed in the details of the Worldwide Fistula Fund and of the work they were doing, Two of us had an opportunity to go visit firsthand the project on the ground and to see the women that were impacted. And while we were there, all the theoretical pieces, the hypotheticals, the discussions, the conversations, everything then made sense. And we were seeing women who had spent sometimes 20, 30 years of their life leaking, literally leaking, who had been stigmatized, divorced from their husbands, living in squalor, begging for food. And by a simple surgery that our hospital was able to produce for them, were completely reborn, physically 100% healthy. And once you're able to make that connection and see it firsthand, we were hooked. And we were then committed to making this not just a volunteer project that we were providing branding or PR or marketing advice for, but a project that we were committed to and something that we wanted to sustain past our program. I became the executive director and took a different approach as we were moving this project forward. We'd go for 3 or 4 weeks at a time to Niger. We'd sit down with government leaders, we'd sit down with important religious components, and we'd slowly build relationships. We would talk to them. We understood how to work in their cultural environment, what was important to them, what they wanted from us, and also what we could gain by having a solid relationship with them. And the project evolved, and we went from being a small sort of start-up hospital that had spent years in development, but had been limited in far of its impact on the ground, to now being the third most prolific fistula hospital in all of Africa.
And so we, through the graduate program at Daniels, the Executive MBA program, are not just teaching executives how to do something for the good of others, though it is certainly that, but in the doing of those things, in the working in the community to enhance community projects, we're doing something that enhances the social capacity of our students themselves.